Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Donald Trump is gaining in nearly every single poll that we've seen come out of the past month. Ron DeSantis, who is not yet announced for 2024, is dropping in a lot of these recent polls. And this comes amid the potential Donald Trump arrest/indictment, where you do have a very rogue, very left-wing, Soros-backed DA up in New York City that's trying to get Trump for something that's basically already been discussed and closed up 5-6 years ago. But still, he's trying to reopen these old wounds to try to get Trump on basically nothing, and it's probably going to fail even if he does get arrested, and would just be an optics boost for Trump in a primary, and that's what we're seeing. But what we do know is they're trying to get Trump because he still is the largest threat to the system. They want to make sure that they can get him out of the way in the political system, because they know if they get Trump out of the way, they'll get all of the Trumpian principles he brought forth to the table out of the way as well. And we know that, so they're trying to go after Donald Trump and trying to remove him from politics, to remove him from the political eye, so he's not going to be the nominee. However, that is backfiring. And it may help him in a general election as well, because I think everybody pretty much in the middle, or even some people on the left, even though they may not admit it, know that this is a bunch of nonsense they're trying to get him for. And he is surging on every poll that we've pretty much seen come out. You look at the recent polls that have come out. We're going to dive into some of the numbers here and some of the polls that we've seen. But it's looking very good for Donald Trump. And Ron DeSantis, is he making some political miscalculations lately? Trump is hitting back. We're going to dive into that as well. But first, I have to tell you guys about redeaglepolitics.com. It's just $5 a month, which is a coffee a month, or 16 cents per day. You get access to all of my exclusive videos. I drop 1 to 2 every single week. I dropped one earlier today on the Michigan Republican Party, which is in total disarray. Also, we have the Discord server. You can get access to that, as well as all of my articles in the newsletter. Make sure you guys sign up. It's just $5 a month, 16 cents a day, redeaglepolitics.com. So Donald Trump polling now in the aggregate around at 44%. Ron DeSantis down there at approximately 28. And this speaks volumes, because after the midterms, it seemed like the tides turned. It seemed like Donald Trump was losing ground because there really wasn't this red wave. And because he was the de facto leader of the party, he got a lot of blame. I think a lot of that was misplaced. I'm actually working on a very intensive long-form documentary that I hope to get out by the end of this month that kind of demonstrates how Donald Trump was really not to blame for the midterms when you dive into at least most of the races that were contentious, that were lost. But furthermore, Trump had something that was a little bit of a political blunder, even though it wasn't his fault, and you see him falling. Now you see him in many polls, he's back to where he was before. And this is true. A lot of these polls. And that includes Morning Consult, which is not really the most Trump-favorable poll. He has gained. He went from 48% now in the same poll. He is up at 54%. DeSantis is at 26%. It's also with a sizable sample size as well. And you look at other polls that really aren't that favorable to Trump, like Quinnipiac, he's up by 14. The McLaughlin pollster as well, which is Trump's pollster, but still, even the McLaughlin pollster showed him losing ground. Now he is gaining that ground back as well. He's now up 23 percentage points over Ron DeSantis, and that you can compare to February, where he was up by just 16, or January, where he was up by just 12 percentage points. He has gained significantly. I think part of this is because he is re-entering the political arena. He is releasing new policy platforms nearly every single week, and they're all objectively very solid. And on the campaign trail, he's at least been on message. And this definitely speaks volumes to his rise. And even in polls where you have Trump versus Biden or DeSantis versus Biden, they're pretty much about even or about the same. Some polls will have Trump outrunning DeSantis compared to Biden. Some polls will show the opposite. I think it's a little too early to tell regardless, but Trump is the one surging right now. And the party is definitely unifying behind him. And part of this is because of the arrest. He hasn't got arrested yet. Obviously, it's speculative that he may in the future, but Trump has been the one playing this up. So is it very possible that Donald Trump is playing up this arrest potentially happening just to boost his energy? I mean, it's possible. It would be 4D chess, but Trump does like to troll the media. He likes to put the media in a tailspin. He's been very good and very effective at doing that his entire political career. That's possibly what he's doing right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. But there's other polls that we've seen. The YouGov poll now shows him up 16 points over DeSantis. He's up by just 8 in a two-way race with plenty of undecideds. He's surging in this poll. You look at the Premise Data poll that came out with a sample size of 573 registered voters. Not a big sample size, but this has been taken a little bit after the whole arrest scare. And it shows Donald Trump up on Ron DeSantis by 31 points. In the head-to-head poll that was taken in early March, he was leading by just 24, but even then, he was surging. And you could look at some of the early state polls as well, because a lot of the detractors or the DeSantis people will say you have to look at the early polls and look at them, because after the midterms, the early polls definitely showcased a little bit of a change in the tide. And this is technically true. We haven't had any in Iowa since after the midterms where DeSantis was gaining, but you go down to a state like New Hampshire and you look at the coefficient poll, he was up there over DeSantis by 11. Open primary state, mind you. This is probably a chance that DeSantis has to pick off a state here. It's going to be easier if Chris Sununu does not enter the race, which I imagine he won't. And then in the Emerson College poll, he's up on DeSantis by 41 percentage points in New Hampshire. And even if you go to Florida, there was a recent poll that was conducted. I don't know if it's in the aggregate here, but it did show Donald Trump up on DeSantis, which has been not the case ever since the midterms in Florida. But there was a poll. I don't believe it has been added to the aggregate so far, but there are plenty of states where these polls do show shift in favor of Donald Trump, and the midterms thing is kind of in the rear view mirror for a lot of people, and this is true. But DeSantis is still hell-bent on running for president. He's being drafted by quite a few people who are not exactly savory, and they're the same people who backed Donald Trump's opponents in the 2016 primary. It's not like they're opposing Donald Trump for legitimate reasons, and they're backing DeSantis and propping him up to be the successor because they believe that since he's a career politician, he'll be a little bit more bendable, which is very possible given his track record in Congress or at the national level. I will say that Ron DeSantis has done some good things as governor in Florida. I think that he has been a good governor. I think he should remain governor, and then Donald Trump should be the nominee. He has unfinished business. He's releasing the best policy platforms of his entire career. He has lamented some of the personnel errors that were made during his presidency as well on the campaign trail. That, I think, is the strongest argument for Trump, even though I know we have about 20-30% of the audience here who would prefer DeSantis, even though they tend to be favorably viewing Trump for the most part, even though there are some neo-never-Trumpers in the mix as well. But DeSantis decided to go out and speak on this indictment. So Trump has attacked DeSantis lately, and I can see why, because he has been propped up. He's giving non-answers when it comes to running. Trump likely has the insider information that DeSantis is going to run, so he's going out there. He's calling him sanctimonious. He's saying he's been a average governor, which obviously he's going to levy those attack lines. That's Donald Trump right there. And if he sees a political threat, he's going to try and squash it. And DeSantis may be the biggest threat to Trump for the nomination, but I still think he's not the biggest threat. So DeSantis was quiet for so long, and then he decides to attack Trump recently. And he chose the worst possible time to hit back at Donald Trump. He could have either taken the high road, said that he would be, so he supports Trump, even though he's, been attacked by him. He still could go out there and say, this arrest is bogus. I stand with Trump, just like some other Trump opponents for the primary, like Vivek Ramaswamy, have said. But he decides to go out there and he's like, oh, I don't know what goes into paying this prostitute to secure this silence over this alleged affair or whatever. So he's taking a dig at Trump. He did go on to say this could be political in a way. He did attack the Soros-backed DAs, but he made the statement more about him than about Donald Trump. It's not even about the Soros DAs. I mean, they are a problem. Don't get me wrong. I've come out in my video about this. I attacked them. I don't really have that much of a problem with him attacking them, but still, he just pivoted. He's ignoring it, and he's swiping at Trump at the worst possible time. He could have hit back earlier. Because Trump has been attacking him since November. He could have hit back a lot earlier, but now he's choosing to hit back, and it's like, okay, I don't know if this is really the best political calculation. And Donald Trump hit back hard at Ron DeSantis. He did a little trolling on his own platform, Truth Social. He's probably going to need to get on Twitter soon when he possibly can, because a lot more people will be seeing what he has to say. It's the political arena. I know he has an exclusivity contract, but he'll have to get back on Twitter eventually. He says Ron DeSanctimonious will find out about these false accusations and fake stories sometime in the future as he gets older, wiser, and better known. When he's unfairly attacked and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are underage or possibly a man. That's a pretty funny dig there. But then he says, I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. So basically, Trump is going out there and saying, you know, when you reach a certain level, you're going to be hit with these same things. How will you respond? And that's always been a large critique that I've had of DeSantis 2024, even going back to 2021. How would he deal with the media at the national level? Donald Trump can go out there and he could fight his battles. He could tweet back, do whatever he has to do. Meanwhile, Ron DeSantis, I don't know, because keep in mind, they've hit a lot of different people with a lot of allegations. Brett Kavanaugh, for example, was hit with things. They even tried to hit DeSantis back in 2018 for those pictures that were maybe out of context. And I don't really think that his response was really all that hard hitting. And he was able to beat the socialist meth head named Andrew Gillum in Florida. But at the same time, the national level, when you're not the incumbent governor of the nation, if you're just going from an incumbent governor who has a decent amount of popularity in a red trending state, going to the national level against Biden, even though his approvals are underwater, it's still going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a very close election no matter who gets the nomination, but Trump seems to be soaring to it at this point. And if he wins it, and he wins it handily, I think it's a good thing, because a party that is divided is not going to stand the best chance. But Trump is going out there. When he's on the campaign trail, he tends to be on message. And also, he does talk a lot about forming the ballot harvest operation for Republicans to get out early votes to match the Democrats at their own game. And I'm not saying DeSantis wouldn't do that as well, but what I'm saying is that with that in play, Donald Trump going up against Biden, utilizing that, it does seem like it is a winning strategy and would avert much of the chaos that we saw during the midterms. So Trump's gaining. We'll see where it goes from here. Definitely politics changes from week to week. But as of right now, it seems like the whole arrest scare, indictment scare, whatever you want to call it, has helped Donald Trump out significantly. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.